What is interesting is that you've been in two different type of ecosystem. You've been in the West, you've been in the East.
Yeah.
How do you take these two ecosystem and you look on both of them, what is related, what is not, how you can contribute to each other? Like, how do you see these differences?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, starting a company is like relatively simple, right? Like, I made a thing. Does anybody want to buy it? Great. Do a lot of people want to buy it? Okay, then maybe something's there, right? So I think a lot of it is like figuring out like, can I make a thing that somebody wants to buy? I think the biggest difference moving back to Singapore was that there's just less density here. So like in the Bay Area, if someone's like, oh, like I need a marketing person, then you're like, what kind of marketing person? You're like, performance, brand, organic, 0 to 1, 1 to 10, 10 to 50. You know, you sort of like, tell me what you want. Here, like, I need a marketing person.
You have the menu.
Yeah, you have a menu because then you're like, oh, this person's really good at performance, but only from the $10 to $50 million of annual spend stage. Here, you just have less of that, right? Because there's just, the ecosystem's a lot younger. There are fewer scaled businesses. And so when you're like, I need a marketing person, it's like, actually, you need someone who's like good at a bunch of things, right? They can't just be like an athlete in one discipline of the function. So I think that was like a bit of a shift. And also because Southeast Asia is like, there's a bunch of people in Bangkok, there's a bunch of people in KL, but you don't have that sort of running into each other as much. So people complain about the monoculture of the Bay Area. They're like, oh God, it's like tech all the time. But I think it's a feature and not a bug, right? Because that's kind of how ideas get transmitted, because you're always talking to people who are kind of swimming in different things, right? So like, I mean, this is my pet theory, right? But like, housing's really expensive in San Francisco, so nobody like lives by themselves. You always have roommates. And then what is your social life? You throw a party in your apartment, and then your roommates invite their friends, and then you're like standing around drinking, and then you're like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? And then like you get ideas, right? Like that's kind of how it happens. And then the next stage up is like, you're watching your kid play soccer. You're standing on the sideline. That parent works at a startup, or that, you know, that's kind of how all that stuff happens, right? But here it's like harder to get that density. And I mean, the flip side is that it's good, right? It's really great that moving back here, I was like, yeah, people exist and do different things. Shipping, it's a thing.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, palm oil, it's a thing. Like, you know, your brain has to like release its preconceptions. Yeah, you have to like convert. But that, I think, was like the talent density is different, and so you kind of have to adjust for that. And I think the types of like business ambition, I would say 5 years ago versus now, was different too. Like now, I think you're actually starting to see more ambitious like plans.
What make the difference?
I think partially it's maturity of the ecosystem. Partially is I think COVID brought a lot of people home. So
force people back.
Yeah. So I think with COVID, a lot of people came home, then they got stuck. Or they're kind of like, hey, this is kind of nice. Like, I like being home. And then they started thinking like, what can I do to stay here? And then they started being like, okay, how do I draw from all these experiences I've had in different markets and still build something here? Or they've had some success already, right? So it's like once you've had some success, you feel more comfortable taking a bigger shot.